I'm pretty sure I remember driving West Virginia Supreme Court Justice Richard Neely to Marshall University to give a speech when I clerked for him years ago. So if my memory serves, I've actually been on your campus. He was a very distinguished and lively person. Fair description?
That's an understatement.
So welcome, and thank you to Marshall University for your work on climate change. Your research, Sustainability Day, or Awareness Day in the Sustainability Department, the climate change advocacy work you've done with Citizens Climate Lobby, the Armstead Lab's work on Appalachian climate resilience, Dr. Cartwright's work on young people's understanding of climate. You guys have done a lot of good work, and I'm grateful to you. Mr. Dewhirst, you mentioned the NERK model. What is the NERK model, and why might it work for water utilities as opposed to electric utilities?
Yeah, so from my former experience in Tacoma, where we were a shared utility of water and power utility, I got to see NERC somewhat in action. So NERC is really a collection.
I was a utility regulator back in the day, so I'm interested.
Yeah. Okay. NERC is set up to where, my experience has been where you have a mix of operators of the system as well as cyber experts that collaborate to develop standards and levels of compliance for different risks associated with each utility. So I think a model like that is worth a conversation to understand how we can make that work for all the different size systems across the country. I think what it does, it doesn't prescript things. It's more of an outcome-based approach. It also gives risk-based requirements. So as a system that has more impact or more connectivity, if you will, across the space, would have higher standards and expectations than one that's a little bit more isolated. But yet it's very important to establish baseline standards for everyone. It also within, of course, work its way across the entire sector, no matter what the size would be. So I think that's an important concept that we need to think. So we're not leaving anybody behind, but we're growing together and collaborating on what's the best approach. One more aspect I'll bring up is it gives it some chance to be nimble. So as I've heard in all your comments this morning, your opening statements, these threats are evolving. They change quickly. We have AI, which just came out 3 years ago, and now we're talking about it all the time. So it allows us to move quickly and not have to wait upon another congressional action to change a law or a standard. We can actually move more nimbly into other ways to address threats as they're coming up.
When I was first working on cyber and we were trying to do a big bipartisan cyber reform bill, which actually got pretty close. Senators Kyle and Graham and McCain and Thune were all working with me on that. We nearly got it done. We were trying to figure out what were the best ways to have American businesses step up their cyber defenses in this continually evolving environment where if you set a bar, if you have to go back and re-legislate that bar when things have changed, you've wasted everybody's time. And one of the things that we were looking at was to require cyber insurance so that if you had sort of general liability insurance, you'd have to carve out a cyber insurance defined sort of rider or element so it just didn't get buried in the overall thing. And that would then focus the insurance industry year by year as policies were renewed in trying to look at how vulnerable you were, and in particular with respect to liability, whether you had met sort of the prevailing standard of adequate defense so that even if something did go wrong, you at least had the defense that you'd done every reasonable thing that could be expected of you. And it's a lot to ask of all of you in 1 minute and 30 seconds, but I would be grateful if you would take a moment after the hearing is over and think about what role requiring insurance, requiring a rider, requiring some specific aspect of the policy might have in terms of being that spur that continually drives forward and requires both the insurance side and the utility side to take a look at where they are on all of this. Is the question clear enough? Okay, my time is up, so I'll let that go, but I do look forward to hearing your written responses about that and figure out whether there's an insurance element to this that can help solve the problem. Thanks.